She stood before the bench like she was waiting for a latte, not a verdict. The judge had given her mercy once. Today, her forgetfulness would meet its consequence. The Macon County Courthouse on a Tuesday afternoon smelled of old wood, recycled air, and the particular anxiety of people whose freedom hung on a stranger's mood. Courtroom 3 was unremarkable, beige walls, fluorescent buzz, the flag limp in its stand. But for Brianna Cole, 19, this room was about to become the set of a hard education she never enrolled in. She stood at the defendant's table in a cream-colored cashmere sweater, her hair perfectly blown out, her posture suggesting she was merely inconvenienced. Beside her, her court-appointed attorney, Mr. Vance, shuffled papers he'd barely had time to review. Across the aisle, the prosecutor, a weary woman named Della Reyes, organized her file with the quiet confidence of someone who had seen 100 Briannas come through these doors. The case was straightforward, almost mundane. 6 months earlier, Brianna had been arrested for possession of a controlled substance, Xanax, no prescription, found in her glove compartment during a traffic stop. It was her first offense. The judge, the Honorable Marcus Reed, a 35-year veteran of the bench, had offered her a lifeline, pretrial diversion. Complete alcohol and drug screening, random testing and assessment, and the charges would disappear. It was the kind of break first-time offenders dreamed of. "Miss Cole," Judge Reed had said that day, his voice patient but firm, "I'm giving you an opportunity here. Don't waste it." Brianna had nodded, murmured, "Yes, sir," and promptly filed the paperwork in the mental cabinet marked problems that solved themselves. Now, 6 months later, she stood before him again. The screening was incomplete. Worse, she had missed a mandatory test on July 1st. No call, no reschedule, just silence. Ms. Reyes rose. "Your Honor," the state would note that the defendant has not completed the required alcohol screening and assessment through Bond Schwartz and Associates. Additionally, she failed to appear for a scheduled test on July 1st. We request the court address this bond violation. Judge Reed looked down at the file, then at Brianna. His expression was unreadable. Miss Cole stepped forward. She stepped forward, one hand in her pocket. "Why?" His voice was calm, conversational almost. "Why did you miss the test?" Brianna tilted her head slightly, a small shrug. "I forgot to print it out." The courtroom went very still. Forgot to print it out. Not "I had a family emergency." Not "I was ill." Not even a creative lie she forgot, like forgetting to pick up dry cleaning. Judge Reed leaned back slightly. He did not speak for a long moment. When he did, his voice was quieter, which somehow made it louder. "I'm sorry, could you repeat that?" "I forgot to print out the paperwork," Brianna said, a hint of impatience creeping in. "So I didn't know where to go." Mr. Vance jumped in, desperate to apply a tourniquet. "Your Honor, my client is young. She's unfamiliar with the legal process." "Perhaps we could." Judge Reed held up a hand, not looking away from Brianna. "Young lady, do you remember what I said to you in April when I gave you this break?" Brianna blinked. Yes, sir, you said don't miss the tests. And yet here we are." He pulled off his reading glasses, setting them slowly on the bench. "You stood in this very spot, promised me you would comply, and then forgot to print a paper." He let the words hang. "Miss Cole, what am I supposed to do with that?" For the first time, a flicker of something, not remorse but awareness, crossed her face. "I mean, it was an accident. I've been really busy with school and busy." He repeated the word like he was tasting it. "Busy doing what exactly?" "I'm a fashion merchandising major. I had projects due." Judge Reed nodded slowly. "Fashion merchandising, important work." His tone was not mocking. It was worse, it was genuinely curious, as if he was trying to understand a foreign language. "And this assessment, this screening, how much time did it require? An hour, too?" Brianna said nothing. Judge Reed turned to Ms. Reyes. "What is the recommended sanction for a bond violation of this nature?" Ms. Reyes stood. "Your Honor, the state would request a 30-day remand to address the noncompliance." 30 days, Brianna's posture shifted. Her attorney leaned in, whispering. Judge Reed watched her process this. Then he spoke, not to the lawyers but to her directly. "Miss Cole, I have a feeling, and I don't say this lightly, that if I do not impress upon you the gravity of this situation right now, I will see you again, and each time the stakes will be higher, the charges will be worse. The victims will be real people, not a piece of paper you forgot to print." He paused. "So here is what is going to happen. For this bond violation, I am remanding you to custody for 3 days. 3 days, not 30, a fraction of what the state requested. But to Brianna Cole, who had never spent a night in a cell, it might as well have been a lifetime. Her composure cracked. 3 days for forgetting to print something? Judge Reed met her gaze. No, Miss Cole, for forgetting that the law applies to you, for forgetting that mercy requires reciprocity. For forgetting that the world does not, in fact, revolve around your convenience. He replaced his glasses. Bailiff, take her into custody. As the bailiff approached, Brianna turned to her attorney, her voice sharp. Do something. Mr. Vance, to his credit, attempted one last Hail Mary. Your Honor, perhaps we could revisit. We will revisit this in 3 days, Judge Reed said, after she has had time to reflect. Next case. The holding cell behind the Macon County Courthouse was not designed for comfort. It was a concrete box with a steel bench, a toilet without a lid, and the faint, sour smell of every person who had sat there before. Brianna sat on the bench, arms wrapped around herself, her cashmere sweater suddenly absurd. She expected to be released. Surely someone would call, her father, her attorney. Surely this was a mistake, a theatrical warning that would be rescinded as soon as the judge had made his point. Hours passed. The dinner tray arrived. A cold cheese sandwich, apple slices, a carton of milk. She didn't touch it. Night came. The lights dimmed but never fully went out. She heard other inmates coughing, murmuring, crying. She pressed her back against the cold wall and did not sleep. At 3:00 a.m., she finally understood. No one was coming. The judge had meant exactly what he said. Day 1, she learned the names of the women in the adjacent cells. Tamika, in for a probation violation. Gloria, awaiting trial for identity theft. Both looked at Brianna, her designer jeans, her manicured nails, and saw a baby deer separated from the herd. First time? Tamika asked. Brianna nodded, unable to speak. It gets easier, Tamika said. That's the sad part. Day 2, the boredom was its own form of torture. No phone, no laptop, no distractions, just her own thoughts, which proved to be poor company. She replayed the courtroom scene obsessively. I forgot to print it out. Had she really said that? Had she really stood before a judge and offered the lamest excuse in the history of excuses? Yes, she had, and now she was here. She thought about her father who had posted her bail and who had not called. She thought about her fashion merchandising degree, which suddenly seemed very far away. She thought about the judge's face, not angry, not vindictive. Disappointed, like she had failed a test she didn't even know she was taking. Day 3, something shifted. Not a dramatic epiphany. Not a jailhouse conversion. Just a quiet, unwelcome realization she was not special. The law did not care about her sweater or her hair or her excuses. It was a machine and she had walked directly into its gears. When the bailiff came to escort her back to the courtroom, she did not smooth her hair. She did not check her reflection. She just stood and followed. Judge Reed looked exactly as he had 3 days earlier, neither pleased nor surprised. Miss Cole, he said, how were your accommodations? Brianna swallowed. Not great, Your Honor. No, I don't imagine they were. He studied her. Do you have anything you wish to say? A long pause, then quietly, I understand now. What do you understand? That the rules aren't suggestions, that you gave me a chance and I threw it away because I thought it didn't really matter, that someone would fix it for me. Her voice cracked slightly. No one fixed it. Judge Reed nodded slowly. That's an expensive lesson. 3 days expensive. He picked up her file. Here is what is going to happen now. You will complete the alcohol screening and assessment within 14 days. You will submit to all scheduled tests. You will not miss another deadline. If you do, I will not offer 3 days. I will offer the maximum. He looked at her. Do we understand each other? Yes, Your Honor. Then you are released to your own recognizance. Do not waste this opportunity, Miss Cole. I will not give you another. Brianna walked out of the courthouse into harsh Georgia sunlight. Her father was waiting by the car. He did not ask how she was. He simply opened the door. On the drive home, she watched the familiar streets pass. She thought about the judge's face. She thought about Tamika still in the cell behind her. She thought about the stack of paperwork waiting on her desk. That evening, she printed it. 6 months later, Judge Reed received a letter. No return address, but he recognized the name at the bottom. Brianna Cole, she had completed her diversion program. Her charges had been dismissed. She was enrolled in community college, studying not fashion merchandising but social work. I don't know if you remember me, the letter read, but I think about what you said every day, about mercy requiring reciprocity. I'm trying to earn the mercy you gave me. Thank you for not letting me get away with forgetting. Judge Reed folded the letter and placed it in his desk drawer where he kept other letters like it. He did not write back. He did not need to. The lesson had landed. If this story of accountability and growth moved you, show your support. Like this video and subscribe to Unbound Stories SR for more powerful narratives about justice, consequence, and the moments that change us. Have you ever had a hard lesson that changed your perspective? Share your story in the comments.